Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to today NeoNephos Foundation Community Call. Today is August 12th, and as such, we are part of the Linux Foundation um, program, and we follow the code of conduct, which boils down to pretty much be nice to each other, respects everybody's opinion, and as such, we're all representing different companies, which we are most probably competitors. And to handle that, we follow the antitrust policy notice from the Linux Foundation. And if you're interested, you can navigate to the linuxfoundation.eu antitrust policy to read more about it. So today we have a very short agenda. Um, I'm going to do a few foundational updates, and then Max is going to talk about Open Control Plane. Thank you, Max, for joining and to share some about the project. And the thing that I want to share, I want to start first is to welcome our newest general member, SVA. And we have, I think, Michael on the call.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, is it Michael or Michelle? I'm
Michael, but Michael is
Michael. All right.
fine.
All righty. So first of all, welcome, and we're super happy to have you on board. Can you share some stuff, what you guys doing and what's your line of business and all that stuff and how you interact with the foundation and what's your plans? If you can, I will
Yeah,
stop
sure.
sharing. I think you have something prepared.
Yeah, I will just show
Yep.
two short slides. Let me see. Share. Here it is. So yeah, just a short introduction what we are doing at SVA. So first of all, I'm Michael or Micha or Michael, how you like. SVA is a member of NeoNephos since I think about 3 weeks now. I'm representing SVA, and sorry about the German slide, this is our portfolio. SVA was founded in 1997. Now we have about 3,800 employees. In Germany, we have 29 locations, and we have multiple topics that we are consulting and doing. So like data center and cloud, mainframe, modern workplace, big data, agile IT and software development, business continuity, digital process solutions, cybersecurity, SAP. And I'm assigned to the agile IT and software development business line. And to give you an overview, how the Agile IT and software development business line is constructed. We have one competence center that tackles everything about agility and DevOps culture, one competence center that does stuff about cloud native and container solutions, so basically Kubernetes with the different solutions that are on the market. Common Center for Infrastructure Automation, so basically Terraform, OpenTofu, Ansible, and so on. And the Competence Center, where I'm assigned, Competence Center Software Development, where we have a team about development consultancy, cloud development. This is my team. I'm the team lead of cloud development, low code, no code, UX, UI, and UX, UI. And we have our own project management that focuses on DevOps stuff. And so we are developing software, we are modernizing software on multiple hyperscalers with multiple technologies. We do open source development, and looking forward to shape projects with you together at NeoNephos.
Nice. Thank you once again. Welcome. Anyone has any questions to Michael? A few other things. Uh, we are closing or trying to close the project lifecycle review soon. So please take a look at the guidelines development repository. There's a pull request number 13. There are a few comments already. The communication is quite strong. And we have Florian with us today. Do we have Florian?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi. I'm pretty sure I'm catching you out of the blue with this one, but we're discussing that on the tech and governing board every
Yeah.
now and then. But do you want to share super quick about the project lifecycle and where it needs some attention from community point of view?
Yeah, basically, let's repeat what the project lifecycle actually is. It's basically the document that defines at which stage which project is, so from sandbox to graduated, and what we expect from a project to be on this stage. So that's the basic definition of what this document is about. At the moment, we don't have that, which basically means no project has a stage assigned. So this is the prerequisite to actually assign states. To projects or projects to states. That's way. So this document is now what we are discussing for a few weeks, even months so far, and the idea is that we very soonish. I think the next TAC meeting is end of August, in about 2 weeks, roughly. Have the final discussion about this, and then it goes through the votes, which then allows us to assign states for the projects, and with that we have something similar that from CNCF, from sandbox, incubator, growth, and graduated, so that's more obvious for somebody who doesn't know the project, where this project is in the life cycle. Is it in the beginning, or is it something that is very well established and used in production? Yeah, so feedback is welcome. Go there, look at it. If there is something that seems to be odd, wrong, missing, please add a comment. It's open to everybody.
Thank you, Florian. By the way, any questions to Florian on this topic? Because it's a super important thing that we have that project lifecycle. By the way, it's a ever living document, so it's not set in stone. So that's the second revision of the lifecycle, right?
It's a second revision. The first revision basically defined the states. The second now is how we actually map the states to the projects.
Yeah, so everybody, if you have a time, please take a look, read it through, because it seems super important how we onboard projects and how we move them through the stages. For those of you who are familiar with the CNCF, as Florian said, is similar to already existing processes there, and we go. I think we have planned to have another stage, right? Another additional one, or
we have an emeritus stage as well. So for projects that basically are not existing anymore, but that's it.
Yeah, which is equivalent to the archived one in the CNCF, I believe. Yeah. So if someone wants to share some feedback on this one, it would be super useful to make it better, and maybe we missed something. Related to that, last week or the week before, I was at KubeCon Japan, and I had the chance to do. I was at KubeCon Japan, and I had the chance to present NeoNephos in front of the CNCF governing board. I did a 5 minutes presentation, more or less, and I presented that thing there, and the folks at CNCF were super interested to see how we can collaborate on that thing. So it was kind of general ask from my side also, the CNCF tags and tabs, to take a look at this one, and if we can have like a more a cadence of meeting with them and exchanging some ideas, and to learn from the already established processes for the last 10 years. So I hope someone of them will come back and provide some feedback. All right, so talking about events, those are the next 3 events that we're gonna have some kind of presence. The first one is Kubernetes Community Days in Sofia in 29th of September. NeoNephos is gonna have a booth there. So if someone is popping by by Sofia and wants to cover some of the booths hours, we're building with Annika from Stackit. Right now we're building the booth schedule and everything. I think also Tristan is involved in that. So if someone plans to attend or wants to attend, please drop a line to Annika, Tristan, me, so we can figure this out. Tickets comes from the sponsorship, but accommodation and transport should be fixed on your side. Also, Open Source Summit in Europe, in Prague, there'll be also a booth of NeoNephos. So the same thing applies there. If someone is going to be there and wants to join the fun of being in the booth and speaking with other people, drop a line. It would be super cool. And the last thing, it's I was invited to give a keynote talk at the Dutch Cloud Native Days, end of October. So if someone is in the Dutch Cloud Native Days, I'll be more than happy to meet you there. So if someone is interested in how we do the events planning and everything, the next slide is for you. It's kind of boring one, but there's 2 links, right? So we have the NeoNephos events repository. And if you want to propose a new event where you think the NeoNephos should be represented, or you want to attend some event and you want to represent NeoNephos, please go to the NeoNephos organization events and open an issue there. And if you want to check how the events are currently going, what's the planning for budgets and Slack and whatever, you can go to that board and see all the stages, the events. And next thing for tomorrow is the Project Community Managers monthly sync. Many community and many meetings, but Project Community Managers monthly sync, it's another set of meetings that we started last month, I believe, where we try to get the folks who are interested in growing the community from not only technical perspective, but from the community side, like the social side and creating content, reviewing PRs, and so on and so forth. That's meetings for tomorrow. So please, you can subscribe to the mailing list so you can get invites. And we aim to discuss topics around community growth, metrics, how we can engage more, what we need, what we lack, and so on and so forth. So for those of you who are interested in that topics, see you tomorrow. And with that, I think I'm going to stop sharing and stop talking. And if there are no questions so far, I'm going to give the stage to Max.
Thank you, Orlin. Very nice. Then I take over the screen share. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me here. I'm Max. I'm one of the software engineers and developer advocates at Open Control Plane. And today I want to give you a little bit of an introduction of what Open Control Plane actually is. And what we are doing. So first of all, who are we? It's not just me. I'm, again, Max, a software engineer, also developer advocate. And also with me is Johannes Ott, who can unfortunately today not join. But we are not just 2 people working on Open Control Plane. We are far more. We are already within SAP, 45 engineers and also counting more and more external contributors. And also within SAP, we have already an internal community built up. Around 100 community contributors and actually over 500 stakeholders who are using Open Control Plane, even from an end user perspective. So there we have lots of people and folks jumping in and seeing actually the traction also that Open Control Plane can drive together. And of course, we are also counting on you. So that's why we're reaching out here in community calls. I was also on KubeCon Amsterdam this year and doing a talk there. So that's why, we're doing also a little bit of presentation intro calls here. All right. But of course, every journey starts with a story. And that is why I want to give a little bit of a background of what Open Control Plane actually is. And since it was an SAP-initiated project, which is now donated to the NeoNephos Foundation last year, I want to actually highlight of what Open Control Plane actually does. So we all are in the industry of when we are building applications and services. And it might be a cloud service that a development team is developing. But in order to run this application, you are not just building this application, you also need to care about these things that are around, the things that you cannot avoid. I mean, of course, the application needs to run in a runtime. It might be connected to a database. It needs some DNS records here and there. It might need a connection to a vault system where you can sync secrets from A to B to have those secrets available in your runtime, for example. And of course, you want to configure your cloud service that it can talk to other proprietary services that might be internal within your company or even externally. And of course, every development team has the same need, basically. They need to orchestrate all those different services, all those different things and tools around it with different toolings. So you might be already lucky if your application is already running in a Kubernetes-based environment, if your runtime is already Kubernetes. But the landscape and the tooling that an application team might use could look potentially a little bit more different. So for databases and proprietary services, a development team, you might use Jenkins, for example, to roll out new changes to your database, to increase the size of your database from 30 to 60 gigabytes, or to connect to other proprietary services. For DNS, you might use ClickOps, since you can't have really another approach to click the desired state of how your configuration for your application should be. And for other toolings, you using Terraform, for example, to configure your Vault instance to sync secrets from A to B. So that might be a somewhat related software landscape, or like a landscape, or how a landscape and a tooling could look like. And of course, it gets even more into a dilemma if you look at an enterprise and if your company wants to ship exactly this stack, not just to the EU public cloud, but even into a sovereign cloud or into US public cloud. And you have different stages, from dev staging to a live environment to a production environment. And you all need to take care of all those different tools that your application needs in order to be healthy, to roll out new changes. And that cannot be the case or that cannot be the solution. So it's definitely too many tools involved. It's definitely too complex to maintain in the long run, since you need people who are writing documentation for that. It's of course error prone, because if you have things like ClickOps involved, where you need to click here and there through different UIs to get to your desired state of your application infrastructure, it's not the right thing. And it's of course time consuming. So what would be the answer? And we all are here in the community call, and we're all in the same ecosystem. So the solution is actually using one methodology for as many parts as possible, because no one is really starting greenfield, right? But in a sense that we take this approach as much as possible into of course, the Kubernetes direction. So bringing everything that an application needs into the Kubernetes resource model. And it's quite straightforward. I don't want to talk to you about new shit here. That's actually the things that we are doing in a day-to-day job. But we saw that need within SAP, because today landscapes look like this, but we already have powerful tools from the CNCF landscape, for example, Crossplane, where you can use Crossplane providers to create your database, to create resources at proprietary services, to create DNS entries, right? You can use powerful tools already from the CNCF or even from the NeoNephos ecosystem to kind of replace things that you did manually or where you used other tools. And they all are using the Kubernetes resource model. For the Vault integration, for example, you can basically use external secrets operator, which is also a very, very used and well-maintained tool in the ecosystem to sync secrets from your secret store down to the runtime cluster where the application should need that. And of course, if we look at the bright side of the ecosystem as well, then we have, for example, Flux or Kyverno. Flux for bringing the capabilities of GitOps into your application stack as well, to define all your resources in a Git repository and sync them into your cluster. And you can use Kyverno on top of it to define custom policies to basically say that you want to restrict how many databases could get created or whatever, right? And of course, there are even more tools. We have tools in the NeoNephos Foundation, such as OCM, to transfer resources and applications from A to B. So the ecosystem is there. Maybe we're not just using that right. And that's how we started actually 4 years ago within SAP with exactly that story. Because we saw the need that we can educate people within the company to really go into the Kubernetes ecosystem, to really start replacing things of manual shell scripts, replacing Terraform scripts and the vast majority of tools and different tools that were used before to create the application stack, and push them into the Kubernetes resource model by using exactly those best practice open source tools. And the result that we've seen within SAP around 3 years ago was that actually people were starting adopting those things, like adopting open source technologies. We're using Crossplane or Open Policy Agent or Flux or ESO. But all of those different different development teams that were using cloud native technologies, we're using them all in a little bit of different way. So again, we've had basically silos. So each Kubernetes cluster looked a little bit different, and the tooling that was deployed there looked a little bit different. And all of those teams had exactly the same problem again, because they needed to install Flux to install crossplane via Helm or need to care about upgrades of, for example, the external secrets operator. So the development team who actually just wants to start their journey in creating a database, they need to even care about how do I install those cloud native tools up front. And most of the time, they don't even want to care where they get their Kubernetes cluster from, right? They don't want to care about that at all. And that is why we have came up with Open Control Plane. An Open Control Plane is basically a self-service for development teams where they can order a so-called control plane and where they get all those tools pre-installed for them. So they get Crossplane, External Secrets Operator, Flux, Kyverno, or different other open source tools from anywhere, basically, installed into their control plane, pre-configured, so that they can simply start and using those APIs without having to worry how they can need to upgrade or how they can install those tools. They're already pre-installed for them. So Open Control Plane is really a self-service, a very thin layer that gives your organization the capability to request those operators that you see open source as a service. And it goes even beyond that. Even if you're in a company who are writing your own crossplane providers where you run where you develop your own Kubernetes operators, you can bring them through Open Control Plane to those different development teams also as a service, since we have different concepts and techniques how we can basically extend the ecosystem to bring more and more Kubernetes operators that are out there, even let them even be inner source or open source, channeling through Open Control Plane, basically. And that's what we are doing. And how Open Control Plane works, so basically it can run on your local machine. So we have support for cluster provider kinds, so you can try it out yourself and run Open Control Plane even on your local machine to test it out. But we have also support for Gardener, which is also a project within the NeoNephos Foundation. And we've also showcased how Open Control Plane works on top of Gardener on the KubeCon Amsterdam showcase. And through Gardener, we have support for all the major cloud providers. And on our roadmap, we are seeking also support for a cluster API so that we can run Open Control Plane almost anywhere. And give even companies who are not using Gardener or who are using different cloud providers, even European cloud providers, for example, Hetzner or Scaleway, for example, the French cloud provider, the possibility to run Open Control Plane really everywhere and extend the capabilities and the simplicity for contributors, for development teams to order all those services, all those operators as a service. If you want to get in touch, I would say, let's go. You can check out definitely our quick start guide and how you can run Open Control Plane on your local machine. So feel free to click on that link. And I was just actually coming out of the community call that we've had today. We have a bi-weekly community call where we get together our engineers from open source, also from within SAP, and where we are talking about the next features, where we encounter bugs, where we talk about the roadmap and the next features that we can work on. And where we try to embrace the mission that we see here, and also the community where we are coming from, since we see the need for Open Control Plane and also the stakeholder need already within SAP, and we're trying to bring that now also to the open source space, since through talks and through engagement on different events such as KubeCon, we see that many companies have exactly those problems in building such a platform where they can hand out operators as a service, very simple in a very lightweight way to their development teams. So that's why a call for action for you. Check out our project, check out our website, check out our quick start guide, and feel free to join our community calls where we can dive even deeper into the ecosystem of how this all works. And that's it.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you very much for listening and dialing in. If you have questions, feel free to raise them. And
I have one.
Sure. Orlin.
What kind of support do you need in terms of contributions?
We basically need more like the what I was showing here on that slide. Actually, I mean, right now we have support for Gardener and for the local scenario, right? And usually the local scenario is really the best way to try it out. I mean, it runs on every machine, on Windows, Mac OS, and so on and so forth. But again, of what I've showed you or what I've talked about with the cluster API support, if we would really need people are motivated to try that out with us. Basically, we have a at the hackathon in the Ipsite hackathon at Potsdam. We've tried it already out, so it is working. We can run Open Control Plane, for example, through Cluster API on GCP. That was our use case. But basically, people and folks who are interested in trying that out and trying to get this running on other cloud providers as well through Cluster API. So contributions there would be very nice. And these are like the topics that we discuss also in community calls, where we try to break down, okay, what is needed and how we can make this into a very cool contributor journey even.
Yeah, this is Tor here.
Hi, Tor.
Hi. Is this production released?
Yeah. I mean, we are using that within SAP already production ready for almost 2 years or 2.5 years now. And we are contributing to that every day, every week, every month, every year. So we're using it already internally, and we are trying already through that push already through the NeoNephos Foundation, then also to bring exactly those capabilities to almost every company. So if you're interested and you want to learn more, we can also schedule a call, and I can give you already like a demo and a quick start of how we can basically enable more companies. Your company, for example, yeah.
How is this from a sort of a long-term support model? I mean, who do you call? I see you have Iron Core listed below, right? And it's always a problem here is, okay, Iron Core is a NeoNephos project, but who ultimately do you call in case you have a problem, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Is there a long-term LTS support model here? You know, is there a commercial model around this somehow?
Right now, there is nothing like this in place. I mean, I guess there were some talks about that in discussions, but so far, Open Control Plane right now is meant to be installed in every company and every organization. So usually, if you're a company who has like an IT department, let's call it that way, then the platform owners are within the company and they host it for the different development teams. So we, for example, within SAP, we are hosting that for the different development teams that we are having within SAP. So yeah, that's like a central engineering team that hosts this for the entire organization, basically.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. You're welcome.
My take on this question, because that question pops up every single time when someone presents a project. Where's the ultimate call to be made when you're in trouble? But that's the beauty of open source, right? And the curse as well. That's you rely on the community side to if you cannot fix that on your own and with your own knowledge, you have 1,000 people behind you pretty much when they use and they contribute and they so to answer Tor, there is no single company right now behind this project, but there is a community, there's a people ready like Max.
So
because I know Max, he can jump in and help you out right away. I've seen that.
Yeah, so. No, I don't challenge that. It's just the curse, as you say, with open source is real. And you know, so for us in the NeoNephos community to also work on, I mean, there's so many really cool open source projects out there where people are doing the support on their own time, and you know, we have very, very thin. You know, if somebody gets sick of it and stops supporting, it's a real problem, right? And these very ambitious sort of overarching projects, such as Open Control Plane, you know, I think for adoption, if one could additionally have a story that talks about how, you know, proactively talks about how will this be supported. So there are certain guarantees associated with you're going to have this for the next 5 years or whatever. And then after that, we'll see. But it's always risky to adopt a tool that is being supported on an enthusiasm basis.
And
it's a topic that we need, that the NeoNephos Foundation is really in a very good position to take these type of problems, sort of the commercial adoption part problems, you know, to not just be interested in the technology, but in the organizational enablement of the technology when we're talking about a digital sovereign Europe, right? I'm really pleased to see this project as an impressive thingy, and I will definitely look into your quick start guide. And yeah, to the whole community, I think it's very important that we, while we are technology enthusiasts, that we also need to address the commercial part of this and make sure that when we develop these cool projects, that we also make sure that the longevity of these projects is guaranteed.
Yeah, it's great that you're speaking about that, but it's not just, I mean, that's a takeaway from me, but also for Orlin, right? Like that's something where we as a foundation need to also from a foundational perspective that we need to tackle this question, right? Not just project perspective, but also foundational perspective. And that's definitely a good call. I mean, I cannot answer you that right now here, but that's
I mean,
why we have community, right?
That's our experience coming from the low-level hypervisor side, right? I mean, we've been struggling a little bit with the long-term support around Iron Core, right? We're using Cobalt Core in SCI, and we're pretty confident in the long-term support for Cobalt Core. But Iron Core, key people are no longer there, and it becomes very quickly a bit problematic. No? And that's and again, NeoNephos Foundation is the right place for us to have these very serious discussions that are also commercial in nature.
Dominic wants to comment on this one.
I mean, it's that could drive into a completely different discussion there. But if you're interested in the long-term support for open source tools that are elemental and like very important for your business, then the recommendation here is always that you contribute to those projects, right? That's the core of open source. There, like NeoNephos as a foundation will not be in a position where we as a foundation can guarantee anything has long-term support as long as there are no contributors and maintainers of those projects. So if the worry is that, how does it stand with long-term support for any project within NeoNephos, then I can only call out to contribute it. And Max, thanks for the shout out here to be open, because that would definitely be one of my biggest questions, right? It is very opinionated right now, but getting it from Gartner, for example, to Carpi, because as we know, Transform has this friction within NeoNephos that we're the Carpi dudes here, would be really interesting. Just wanted to say that, right? As an open source foundation, there is no guarantee.
And I'm certainly not expecting that NeoNephos guarantee the longevity of the project. That's not my intention. What I'm saying is that this community is the right place for us to exchange ideas beyond the you have to support for a small company such as ours. I mean, we're talking Cybers, we're 35 people. To be a contributor in every component that we would like to use is a bridge too far for us, right? We would like to be able to rely on certain components and know that they have support. And again, I'm not asking the NeoNephos community to be that guarantor. I'm asking for us to use this forum as the place to exchange ideas on how we not just build the technology, but also ensure that these technologies and the economic ecosystem around it are sufficient to keep everybody happy somehow.
I guess the interesting point to that is that open standards will help us there, right?
Yeah,
if it's easy
absolutely.
to switch from one tool to another, then right, it's definitely so. Keeping that in mind, I mean, making Open Control Plane less opinionated in that and giving us more options in where it runs and what it supports definitely will help with that in the long run as well.
Okay, well, thank you.
And that's why preaching once again to the power of the community, I think if we are building these things together, then we can make open control plane for every company. Yeah, successful basically. Yeah, running this.
Yeah, that's to combine what Dominic said and Max. That's the way how we answer the longevity as well, right? If everybody who's basing their business on top of open source project is investing also back, that's the way how these projects are surviving. Because the NeoNephos as well as like CNCF and Linux Foundation can help with charting the path forward, but not laying down the, for example, the foundational like financial foundations for projects to survive. So we can support. And people like Max and his team, when they decided to donate the project to the NeoNephos, actually there is a contractual obligation that they'll be engaged long term with that. So it's not like throw it over the fence and forget about it. And now it's the foundation responsibility. Actually, it doesn't work like that. It's the same thing with any CNCF project. When company donates it, they sign up contractual obligations with the foundation that they're going to continue at least for 5-10 years support of that with resources. By resources can mean maintainers, can be infrastructure, whatever.
Okay.
So there's that guarantee. And once you, as a consumer of that, you're getting more and more engaged with it, eventually you become part of the project, and that also like solidifies the longevity from perspective of the project, not in your particular case, but and also you can steer what Dominic said to open it up. And in particular for the open control plane, right now it's very opinionated based on what was the need for Max and his team. But if someone else wants to do something else, they can, by joining the team, they can steer that and to make it more inclusive, I would say. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but more workable for everyone. But also there's this program, it's discussed on the, I think you can address that to the representative. There's this program for commercialization. That's a very complicated word for my tongue, but there's the way how you can actually, everyone who is member of the foundation actually can build business around. That's because ultimately people are doing all that stuff for money, right? So people can find that niche to build business around long-term support for wherever. And I can give examples from CNCF where companies with 2 people actually are running business based on few projects in CNCF by contributing and providing professional services on top. So opportunities here a lot, if I can say that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. We just need to figure out a way how we can be more collaborative on all this stuff and to share what Max said, to share experience and use cases so people who are maintaining these projects can actually gain ideas. Because at some point they have, I can share, for example, Harbor, one of the other projects that I'm working on. At some point we kind of run out of ideas what we need to add to the project because everything was there. And at that time, we needed someone to actually kick us to make better work and to, for example, add some metrics around AI stuff and images and models, whatever. To accommodate new features, we need feedback from the outside, not only maintainers. Dominic.
Different question, Max. Have you already talked to the folks from, and maybe you have, contributors on both sides, but folks from Platform Mesh?
Yeah,
Because I
sure.
can imagine there is a good match, right? That the open control plane can be like the provider for Platform Mesh, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we are in close contact. Like people who were also working for Open Control Plane before, also switched like projects. So we are in a quite good position that we are in close contact. So that's why we are already thinking in ways of how we can bring Platform Mesh and Open Control Plane also there together. But since every project is also independent in the NeoNephos Foundation, we are also building it in a way that it can run on Gardener. It should not run on Gardener. That's why we have support for Kind, and then also in the future for Cluster API as well. So it should really be as much open as possible so that every company who is running on a different stack can use open control plane in whatever requirement and whatever connection they also want to use with other NeoNephos projects as well. That's the beauty of it. That's why we are having this foundation.
But have you already some experience with mesh as a contract in front of OCP?
Yeah, for example, we've also did a demo on KubeCon Amsterdam, where we've built a complete local scenario with Gardener, Open Control Plane, and Platform Mesh on top of it. So there we've tried out already things of how Open Control Plane and Platform Mesh is working. And yeah, if that answers the question already. I mean, I can also set out the link to the repository that is open where we've stored this demo basically. Is that going into your direction?
Yeah. I mean, I missed the talk on KubeCon. Would be awesome if you have the link to that.
It was not a talk. It was more like on the booth that we've had this demo.
Okay.
But I'm sure that we will represent this in some form or other shape in other events as well.
That might be a
Possibly
NeoNephos
also in
webinar.
Yeah, that would be also cool. Yeah. If there aren't any other questions, then you can take over again, Orlin.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll take over, but actually we're in the section with Q&A, and I want to ask a broader audience, like everyone, what else you expect to see in that call? What we can do better, and what other topics you want to see discussed here, and what kind of stage you want to have, right? Because representing projects is great, maybe use cases. I think it makes total sense if all the members who are using some of the projects can present their usage, if it's not a super high secret, of course, so others can learn and share experience. So if you don't feel like comfortable to share that here, in saying, please drop a line in the wonderful tool of Zulip or Slack. So yep, I don't have any more topics for today, except to update you that the next one, Max dropped the link for the repository stuff. Thank you. The next one will be in September. I'll be on vacation, so I won't be able to join and enjoy that meeting, but someone else will take over. So with that, last call for questions for today. And next one is September 9th, so just FYI. No questions? Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thanks again, Max. Super happy to see you here, and see you next time, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.